Hello, everyone. Welcome to the June edition of the Speaker Series, presented by our sponsor, F&G, in partnership with Facebook and Walmart. My name is Destiny Woodruss. I use she, they pronouns, and currently I serve as the Director for Community, Diversity, and Education at Capital City Pride. This time we have Ezra Krivalavi, and they use they, them pronouns, and they serve as the Advisor of Community, Diversity, and Education with Capital City Pride. They will be the second interviewer for this evening. Our esteemed guest is Jane Elliott, a world-renowned educator on anti-racism. But before we get into it tonight, we at Capital City Pride hope that you've enjoyed this year's 30 Days of Pride. We've had fun runs, cooking shows, Mindful Mondays, the 2021 Capital City Pride pageant, yoga, drag night, and silent disco. Some of the upcoming events are the Progressive Worship Service in partnership with the Downtown Disciples, a Broadway sing-along, storytellers, and the Pet Parade. There are still slots for sign-up if you'd like to showcase your pets. Those interested, head on over to our website for sign-up. Please check out capitalcitypride.org for additional information on upcoming events. I'd like to give a shout out to the past speakers of the 2021 Capital City Pride Speaker Series. In January, we had Goddess Carol, founder of the Sunseed community, based out of Des Moines, hosted by Teehee's Comedy Club. In February, we had Diana Prince, as the executive director of the Des Moines Pride Center, also hosted by Teehee's Comedy Club. In March, we had the Golden Crown Literary Society's Ann Roberts, who serves as the interim executive director and is a New York Times bestseller and author, and Maria Pena, director of diversity and inclusion via StreamYard. In April, we had Jade Phoenix, she, her, filmmaker, spoken word artist, poet, mother, and daughter via StreamYard. And in May, we had Micah Meyer, who was featured on a 3-year road trip holding an LGBTQ flag around various landmarks and churches, and international speaking is what he's known for. That was also hosted by Teehee's Comedy Club. Thank you to F&G for sponsoring the Speaker Series. We are so grateful and excited for the opportunities you have provided Capital City Pride and our viewers at home or on the go, wherever they are. We have a short video from F&G.
At F&G, our mission is to help people turn their aspirations into reality, and that goes beyond the annuities and life insurance products we offer. We understand the value of our employees being able to show up as their true selves and creating a culture of belonging. F&G recognizes and appreciates our LGBTQ+ friends and colleagues, and we understand the importance of coming together as a community to celebrate diversity, inclusion, and acceptance. But inclusion is not limited to just one month. At F&G, we recognize the value of continuing the conversation all year long, which is why we are excited to be the presenting sponsor of Capital City Pride Speaker Series to show our support for the LGBTQ+ community and actively participate in keeping the conversation going.
Thank you again to F&G. The June edition is a bit different from our previous editions of the Speaker Series. This time, we're utilizing a dialogue style format with 2 interviewers and a speaker. This style is inspired by the Red Table Talk with Jada Pinkett Smith, Willow Smith, and Gammy. Thank you to the production and on-stage crew at the Red Table Talk. Now, viewers, you may remember Love and their upcoming project, the COVID-19 Remembrance Storytellers. Welcome, Ezra.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. And finally, I get the pleasure to introduce Jane Elliott, a world-renowned speaker and educator on anti-racism, known for her inclusion and equity work, known for the historic, controversial Brown Eye, Blue Eye experience in the small town Riceville, Iowa, on April 5th, 1968, the day after MLK's assassination. Since then, Elliott has been educating, training, and facilitating dialogues on college campuses, television, radio talk show hosts, podcast keynoting, and inspiring up-and-coming anti-racism educators in spite of public criticism, backlash extending to her family after speaking out against racism and speaking up for equity and inclusion. Jane is still at it and is now facing a newer generation grappling with what comes next after the blatant showcase of socioeconomic disparities in the space of COVID-19, murder of Black trans women, murder of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and so many others at the hands of law enforcement on display for the world to see, the introduction and the defeat of Iowa's 15 anti-LGBTQ bills, and we're here today to have this time together. welcome to you both.
Thank
Jane,
you.
thank you so much for being here.
Well, you're thanking me now. You may regret it in a few moments.
Oh, I've got time. I'm here for it.
Okay, all right, let's do it then.
Let's do it. So, Jane, after MLK's assassination, you were so moved to conduct that. What?
When you say MLK's assassination, it takes me back to the day I walked into my house with the teepee that my previous third graders had made under my arm. I was we were to learn the Sioux Indian prayer that says, "O Great Spirit, keep me from ever judging a man until I've walked a mile in his moccasins," the next day. And we were learning the Indian unit. I walked into the house, the phone was ringing. I answered the telephone. It was my sister. She said, "Is your television on?" I said, "No." She said, "You better turn it on." I said, "Why?" She said, "Because they shot him." I said, "Who'd we shoot now?" "Because we shot people regularly." And she said, "Martin Luther King Jr." And I can't say that without getting sick to my stomach, because at that moment, my world literally stopped turning for a few minutes. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. I couldn't believe what I had just heard. How could this country, the land of the free and the home of the brave, shoot a man? And there was no doubt but what that was done by the government. That wasn't done by a single man. That was done by the government. He and Malcolm X were coming closer and closer together. And if those two men and their followers had ever gotten together, they would have turned this whole thing upside down. We would not be in the situation we're in today. We would never have elected a fool to the presidency that we did in the last 4 years if those two men had gotten together. That was one of the worst things that happened. Of all the people who were killed in those years, the Kennedys, and some more, and some more, and some more, the death of that man, as far as I was concerned, was the worst thing that happened at my time, by that time in my life. I'll never forget it, never have, can't. I was furious. I was furious. And I knew I was going to have to go into my classroom the next day and explain to my students why the man who had been one of our heroes of the month in February was dead. And I didn't know how to do it. And I washed the teepee, I dried the teepee, I fed my kids, I got them to bed, I spread the teepee out on the living room floor, and I was ironing it. The television was on, and there was Walter Cronkite saying to 3 leaders of the black community, "When our leader was killed, his widow held us together. Who's going to keep your people in line?" And I thought, my God.